Hi, I'm Låpsley and this is Nonchalant Magazine. I've just released my new EP and the inspiration behind it is kind of largely like a bit of a diary of my life over the last year. I've done a lot of healing. With that comes reflection, and I've done a lot of bad things in my life and I've not been the best person in a lot of partnerships that I've had. So I kind of had to like face a lot of those bad things about me in order to like get past. So when I talk about a guilty heart can never rest, I talk about like all the parts of me that I've felt really shameful that I've had to overcome to become a better partner. And the relationship with myself, I guess. And then on top of that, there's also like random shit like Angeles, where I'm talking about my difficult relationship with LA. I guess it's like the whole EP is about difficult relationships between me and either objects, people, places, and trying to overcome it. How would I describe my music style to someone that's never heard it before? I'd say the center of my world is lyrics. For me, it's like the narrative behind it. And then I think because I have a background in production, like I always want the beats to like slap hard. And now I've kind of entered this phase of being obsessed with guitars. So I kind of want everything to sound like some Cocteau Twins stuff. Yeah, indie. Songwriting is definitely a form of therapy for me. That's how it served in its earliest form. I think that's what it was like born out of. It was like being awake at like 2, 3 a.m. and writing and recording in my room when I was like 14. And I guess even though there's like more studio equipment and I'm often recording in a different space, the mental space is still the same. It's as soon as I walk through those doors, obviously not a bedroom now, I kind of allow myself to like open up and observe and assess parts of my life. And then I then use that as like fuel for the lyrics. It's funny saying I came out in 2020 because it's something that like I've always been. And something I was thinking about the other day, especially like speaking to my therapist about it, was that all of the kind of like sexual gallivants when you're a teenager that people did, like I only told my parents about the ones that I had with men. I never told them about the ones I had with women. And I was super secretive about that part of my life. Even though I was like part of the hockey team and there was loads of like out women, and even like I remember there was this one point where I was getting with like the only like out lesbian in the school, and like I just couldn't bring myself to tell my friends about it. And I had to battle that kind of internalized homophobia and shame to get out of that box. It's a strange identity being bisexual, because parts of your life you've convinced yourself you're in both teams, and then eventually you've come to the conclusion that like you're in all of them and there's nothing you can do about it. So from that, I think coming out in 2020 was like radical acceptance of that. And also I think more bisexuals need to be quite open about their sexuality. I don't think there's many like bastions of bisexuality in the media. So if I can be one of those to another like teenager that was like thinking the same feelings, then I could have needed that basically when I was a teenager. So yeah. Undercovers, hear the secret lovers in chapters start to fall. Over shivers, ice crack rivers, and hands of wind confused. Confluences bring confidences before they had to choose. If she can't have you, if she can't have you, if she can't have you, if she can't have you. Do I feel trapped in my bisexuality now that I'm with a straight man? It's funny because I think that's often it can almost be said as like a slur, as in by people who are like, oh, well, that will never be enough, or that will never be enough. So I feel like when I've been with a woman, people have said like, oh, well, that's going to be more expensive if you want to have kids, or blah, blah, blah. There's always like a comment. And then when I'm with guys, like, people have always said like, oh, well, you know, you're just going to like jump ship eventually. And I'm just like, I can never be content. But the truth is, like, the aspect of me, like, I think it's more of a question of monogamy and non-monogamy than like seeking like another person, like whatever gender, you know, and that's definitely something that I've also like spoken to my fans about like being like quite non-monogamous and like working at like sex parties and just like being involved in the kink scene and all of that queer goodness.
Happy now, are you happy now? Tell me how.
So this EP has kind of like opened up Låpsley to be seen in like a number of different genres. But the truth is, the people that know me really well would say that I've always been like that. And I write a lot of music for other people anyway, and that's always like across different genres. So sometimes like what I present to the world with Låpsley doesn't always line up with, it's almost like 2 years behind. So this feels like the first time that I'm like releasing music that's like really where I am right now. And I feel like that like openness of genres also like aligns with my like this new openness, whether it's about like my sexuality or my activism or like feminism or politics. It's all just kind of a big shift in my late 20s of being more open and realizing that like Låpsley and Holly is quite indistinguishable, but Låpsley has a platform that can like help other people, and Holly, I don't know, has a chair in a pub to help her mates, but it's the same kind of thing. Looking ahead, what's next for Låpsley? Well, I've made an entire album. I'm not going to tell you when it's dropping, but I've made an entire album. So we're not rolling into another single or another EP. We're going into some hardcore stuff. And it's going to be bigger and better than anything I've ever done before, I think. I'm not playing live this year because I'm resetting everything and reimagining everything. But next year will be a year of live performances. But I'm definitely going to be recording some like live performances, a bit like Nonchalant is like recording me tonight, which is cool. So there'll be a few opportunities to like see me perform live through your little screen.